best looking. In fact, you probably knew before you actually went out. You know, you just think to yourself, well, if we pull tonight, I can go for the prettiest one because I'm better looking than my mate Pete. And on occasions, I've gone out with blokes and thought to myself, I'm going to have to go out with the good dancer because Mick is going to get the gorgeous one.
I was always in your position with my mate that would never fail to pull a chick when we went out, and I was always the one that had to work for it.
Yeah.
But what do you mean you can work it out when you're out there?
Well, because there's this thing about don't you? Which of the two of you is the most attractive to the opposite sex? Don't you? Two men, two people do. Yeah. Two women do, don't they?
Well, you know who's better looking.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean the most attractive.
Yeah.
You know, if it's two women though, which one of you is going to be pulling the blokes easier than the other one, right?
Well, you do after a little bit of practice. Yeah. When you go out with one of your female friends, then it kind of takes the first guy to approach you to know who's got it and who hasn't, I guess.
Yeah.
Or who's got it more.
Have you ever been in one of those situations where there's the two of you and your female friend, and then you're being chatted by two blokes, and nobody's quite sure who's getting off with whom?
Yeah.
How do you resolve that? It can take a long time.
You know when it's
sometimes that you realise that nobody's really happy. Everyone wants to be snogging the other person.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because you know when it's two blokes and they're like, they're with two women, and the blokes sort of make a decision and kind of like, make a sort of gesture to each other, sort of quietly behind the girls' backs of which one they like better and which one they're going to go for. Do women do that as well?
Yeah, of course.
Clear?
Well, we sort of whisper. We're a bit more blatant. We whisper in each other's ear rather than give a signal. We kind of go, "You have that one. I want that one."
Right.
Yeah.
No, well,
Right. Whereas a bloke just kind of looks and kind of, gives the little nod, raises the eyebrow,
I think girls have the advantage in this way because girls can go to the toilet together. But if two blokes get up at the same time and decide we're just going to go and powder our noses, it's not quite the same, is it? Whereas girls
doesn't work in doesn't work in nightclub toilets, does it?
No, they get the chance to go to the toilets together because it's not wrong for girls to go to the toilets together. They sit there, they chat for 5 minutes, they work it all out, what they're going to do, which one they're going to do, where they're going to go, how long they're going to be at the nightclub for. Whereas a bloke, when they're at the toilet, they'll just go, "Oh, I'll have blonde one, I'll have the one with the big tits, nice one, pint please."
And you have to watch it as well because girls are now timing men in the gents to make sure that we're in there long enough to have washed our hands.
Yeah. Really?
If you come out too quickly, they will know that you've just had a slash and come running out again with hands that have recently been in contact with your penis. And they don't want that to happen until much later.
No, exactly.
I was going to say it should be a problem because, in a few hours' time, their mouth is going to be in close proximity.
And not with the particular type of wetness that might be hanging around,
Did nothing come of you two then? Because the last time I spoke to Zara, she was here and you gave her a lift to the station.
That's right, yes, we had a very strange conversation about anal sex.
And she made it quite clear that of all of us in the studio, you were her preferred choice.
Yeah, but I've gone off him now.
Why is that?
Which is a shame, Duncan, because, you and I, there's nothing wrong with you and I, so,
Speak for yourself.
Speaking of not wanting to be mistaken for a homosexual by going to the toilet with your mates if you're a bloke, I went up to London to watch the England game on Wednesday with because my son is at uni. So I met him and we went to a pub, and it was quite a sort of earthy pub. Do you know what I mean? Everybody in there was going, go on Beckham, all that sort of thing. So it was that sort of a pub.
Right.
And I decided that I was going to drive home, which was a 70-mile trip, but then I thought, no, I want to get drunk. So I was there with my son, who's a very good-looking teenage boy, and I'm a middle-aged man. And I inquired of the barmaid if there was a hotel nearby, and I know what she thought. No, wait, it gets worse.
Yes, but not by the hour, sir.
It gets worse, because I came back and said to my son, apparently there isn't a hotel, so I'll just drink juice and I'll go home tonight. And he went, "Can we go outside, Dad? It's raining." And I said, because he's a romantic. He went, "Okay." So I went, "Okay." So we went outside into the car park, which now has an umbrella, because they all have umbrellas in car parks now, don't they, in pubs, because where you smoke. So we're sat there, me and this good-looking teenage boy, okay, and it's raining, and because our body language is father and son, we're intimate, okay? We're sitting right next to each other, butt to butt, on this wooden bench, okay? And I said to him, are you warm enough? Well, again, which is quite an intimate thing to say, isn't it? And there were 2 or 3 other blokes smoking and drinking outside, and they were sort of eyeing this. And I said to him, are you warm enough? And he went, yeah. He said, I am. He said, because whenever I drink, my hands warm up. So I didn't think. I just went, do they? And I took his hand. And then I'm sat there thinking, we've just asked if it's possible to get a hotel. And now I'm sat in a pub car park in Egham in a teeming rain, and I'm holding this pretty teenage boy's hand. I didn't care, I have to say.
Isn't that just a reflection on modern society, how bad it is that a father, and being the father, that you felt...
No, it just occurred to me.
That people might think that.
I didn't give a stuff, to be honest with you, but, it just ran through my mind, as these things do.
Have you told your son that you were having these thoughts about him?
No, I will do next time I talk to him. He'll have a good old laugh about it, because he's a very bright little fella. Zara. Yeah, he's one of my best friends.
Oliver Knight, by the way, on the email says ugly women shag better because they're never quite sure where the next one's coming from.
Yeah,
same thing, so, really. Yeah.
Well, they say the same thing about ugly men, like
good. Well said, Zara. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to turn this thing on its head and ask you the question. I mean, we've been talking about blokes going, let's have the ugly one because they try harder in the sack. In your experience as a woman of the world, which I think you most probably are,
I'm a virgin.
Yes. Is it the case that the men, if you've got this bloke who, fell out of the ugly tree and hit all the branches on the way down, do they try harder to please you?
Well, I've never had sex with an ugly man, so...
No, it has to be said that not many people actually date outside of the face, as they call it in California.
Or at least admit it.
I can tell you that Italian men I don't rate at all.
As
because,
what? To look at or as
bed.
in bed?
In bed. Yeah, because really? I've only had the experience probably 1 or maybe 2, but I've asked friends who've been with Italian men as well, and it's the same thing. It's that they kind of act as though they're in